Welcome back, all my loyal patriots of Ireland and abroad, to County Gains News Network, the only honest news network and branch on the internet, okay? Now we're going to be speaking out against, of course, the NEWSTALK radio, the propaganda station, as I like to call them, NEWSTALK, Joe.ie, Virgin Media, and RT2, the four horsemen of propaganda in Ireland. Today we have a video called "Do We Speak Out Against Trump's Agenda?" Now, "we" is not an all-encompassing term of the people. He's talking about do their own agenda, the left-wing Marxist liberal weirdos, do they gonna speak out against Trump in the White House? Because Micheál Martin, of course, has gone over to do negotiations, which I think is the worst person in the world to do negotiations with America. They're ideologically completely diametrically opposite, so I'm not sure exactly why they'd be doing negotiations together. But anyhow, as the great Conor McGregor says, you'll do nothing. You'll do flipping nothing. So yeah, they're not going to say anything against it. If he does, I'd be very, very surprised. And if he does, I mean, Trump might just pull the rug, pull all the funding for the medical device companies, for all the different IT sectors in this country as well. So it could be a very bad day for the Irish people if Micheál Martin decides to kick up a fuss, which I'm sure he won't. He's going to do nothing. All right, let's get it, guys.
Government ministers must use St. Patrick's Day visits to the US to highlight the dangerous impact of authoritarian shifts in the Trump administration. That's the call from Carol Bal, CEO of Action Aid. Carol, what...
That's Action Aid. That's the NGO, guys, funded.
...should ministers be saying to their counterparts across the US on their St. Patrick's Day visits?
Good morning, Jonathan, and thanks for having me on.
It's Shane here, actually, talking to you.
Sorry.
Oh, they don't even know who's on the show. This show is completely just ridiculous. Who's on the show today? Come on.
Shane, good morning, Shane. So I think obviously we know that this isn't a business as usual St. Patrick's Day, and I think the world is watching in alarm as we see, you know, some of the really worrying things that the Trump administration has done. And in the space of just 3 months, we have seen a massive attack on efforts to combat climate change, on efforts to combat global poverty, and on multilateralism as a whole, and really dangerous threats towards Gaza and Ukraine.
Oh my God, the mainstream media is working overtime today. We've seen authoritarian rise, we've seen threats between this and this. Complete nonsense, guys. The world is healing. Trump is back in power. Daddy is home. The world is healing, guys.
And actions in that.
The woke DEI liberal Marxist agenda is finally dying off.
Those areas. So we're urging Irish ministers to make sure that we're calling this out. We do welcome the fact that the Taoiseach has clearly said he will raise Palestine and Ukraine, but also we do need to look at the wider range of things that's happening here. We've seen absolutely devastating cuts to US aid, it's overseas foreign assistance.
Hold on, let's take this one by one. I know everybody says, Chris, don't stop the video, but I have to, guys, because I have to rebuttal what she's saying. She's saying stop Gaza and stop Ukraine. Of course, we want to stop war. Trump is trying to do that, but people don't want that. Zelensky has said we have to keep fighting. Trump is saying take a ceasefire, so that's not going to happen. Of course, Gaza, we don't want to see anyone get killed, any innocent people. They're bombing refugee camps in Gaza. Horrendous stuff. Of course, we don't want to see that.
Happening here. We've seen absolutely devastating cuts to US aid.
US aid is absolutely great that it's been cut. I think loads of charities have fired people in Ireland. I think there was a charity that fired 100 people in Dublin because of the cut of US aid, which is great because they were just funding weird liberal left-wing, agendas, guys. They were just funding completely, irradical stuff that that America should not be funding. America should not be funding the world. If they want to do their own stuff, different countries, let them fund it themselves. Tax your own people. I'm not even American. I'm from flipping Ireland, guys. I don't even care. I don't want funding from other countries.
Overseas foreign assistance, which has a really brutal impact on the world's poor, and we've seen
No, it doesn't. Okay, it goes to these charities, but the charities, the people, the lower down kids that are starving from water and food, they don't even see the money. All these rich charity members, they start buying houses in Miami, flipping Mali, the leaders and these leaders in Africa and Middle East and stuff, a lot of these places that are getting funded by the US aid to help starving kids, which is good. Of course, you want to help starving kids. The starving kids never even see the money. It's never even seen by them.
Really dangerous rollback of climate commitments, and the climate crisis cannot be solved without a global effort, particularly without the involvement of one of the largest emitters of greenhouse gases. So we are seeing this as a profound shift in the US, and we have to call out what really is an authoritarian shift.
No. What you have to do as a loyal patriot citizen of this country, if you guys have any balls, is you should be calling out these people that are pushing this narrative on the media. That's what I'm doing. You have the Unbroken Man doing it. Shout out to the Unbroken Man from Galway. You have another guy, I forgot his name, I apologize. I think it's some other YouTuber guy from Ireland. But there's only about 3 of us. There's only about 3 of us guys on the internet. Maybe a couple more Ninja Knight. There's a few more guys, but, you know, of course they're legends as well. But I'm saying, like, you know, the average person should be making channels, should be pushing.
Okay.
Will have really brutal impact.
We're going to come across as hectoring and lecturing, aren't we? If we do that.
I mean, I think we have to take a stand, and we are in this position where, you know, these things have happened that will have such a huge impact that we have to call this out. And there is this fear.
To what end, though, Carol? Will it do any good whatsoever? It'll certainly alienate Ireland and Irish issues.
It won't do anything at all, and it will just alienate the country. We'll probably lose loads of funding. We'll lose loads of jobs. We'll lose loads of tourism. We're going to lose a ton of stuff if Ireland start piping up. It's like so ridiculous that we're a little drop in the ocean, and then we're trying to fight America, the most powerful country in the world. You guys are clowns. Why wasn't any of this fighting happening when Joe Biden was there? Now the woke agenda is being pushed back against, and now people are getting angry.
Will it do any good?
Unreal.
I mean, it's unlikely it's going to change the mind of the Trump administration. I think we know that. But we are fighting for a world here that is based on human rights and international solidarity and multilateralism. And we have...
She's throwing out a lot of big words there to confuse the general public, but it's all nonsense. International solidarity. America doesn't need to do that, first of all. You know, they're not the flipping world's police. You know, I don't think their military bases should be in any country around the world. America already has, you know, hundreds of military bases around the world. You know, it's ridiculous. Multilateralism, another just, you know, that's a woke agenda driven phrase. These are just buzzwords. The mainstream media pump out these buzzwords to confuse the public of Ireland and abroad. Let's be honest.
Have to be one of those voices that will step up to the plate. Ireland has done this consistently with Gaza. We have been unafraid to call out our values. And we're not seeing enough opposition to Trump. We're seeing too much, you know, how do we handle this? How do we not make him mad? We need to really call out what is happening because the world's community needs this. I mean, if you look at the...
But if it's not going to do any good and it could harm our own interests, is there an argument that says, actually, we shouldn't do this?
Finally, this guy's copping on. I think a lot of the media are starting to push back because they're involved in it so heavily. They must be watching the people's reaction. They must be watching. I mean, maybe they watch my videos. I get sometimes 10,000, 20,000 views on these videos, 5,000 views. So somebody's watching these videos in Ireland. And, you know, it's probably these people as well in media that are like, oh, shit, like we're not really aligning with the public and what the public want. The public don't want to be fighting with America. We love America. We have a lot of business with them. Trump's doing great stuff. Just leave it alone. I don't think they should be talking anything crazy to that guy. That's nonsense. You have to be political, you know, professional. I'm the professional. I wish I could go talk to Trump. It'd be amazing, guys. I'd love to, you know, have him on the podcast, have him on the flipping show. Elon Musk, anyone like that. It would be amazing. But, you know, these liberal left-wing people, I mean, have we even invited him to Ireland? Like, Joe Biden was invited a few years ago to Ireland, you know, for like a St. Patrick's thing or some big parade. Why don't we invite Trump over? Play a couple of rounds of golf. Get Rory McIlroy, the best golfer in the world, to show him how to play golf and, you know, do some kind of liaison sort of business meetings. Instead, just lambasting him on the news. It's ridiculous. We have the worst flipping government. I don't know what the hell people are thinking of.
I mean, I think we have to look at what will harm global interests. And if the world continues to not call out what is happening, we will have no global action on climate change, no global action on fighting poverty. We have to reclaim these spaces. I mean, even...
It's like that Spider-Man meme.
with Gaza just over the weekend, electricity has now been cut off and going into the Gaza Strip.
I know, we know that, and I'm not in any way justifying some of the things Trump has said or done, but I suppose the argument is, he's not going to change because we go over and say, oh, this is wrong and you really should be doing X, Y, and Z. He's not going to change. In fact, it'll probably get his back up more and it'll only alienate Ireland and our own interests. I mean, it could do us damage
100%.
and do no good.
100%.
I mean, I think President Trump has a particular view about Ireland that, I think we probably have little ability to shape either way. And he's doing what he wants anyway, regardless of what people say and are doing. And if everybody in the world says we won't call this out because we don't want to upset and we want to protect our self-interest, we will end up with a highly fragmented authoritarian world with no global solidarity, with no global action. We appreciate this is
These are globalists speaking. We're populists, guys. Me, Elon Musk, we're all populists. We want to see a population increase. We want to see the people come together. These people are globalists. You understand? Google it.
Really difficult diplomatically. There's no question about that. And there are risks with it, but there are already risks to the world if we don't say anything and we allow the rollback of human rights, of women's rights, of climate action to
she threw in women's rights as well there.
Happen. And we don't put out our voice as calling for something different. The world will be more dangerous. It will be hotter. We will have more droughts. We will have more floods. More people will die.
Who is this lady? I have to cut her off soon, guys. This is awful. This is the worst. Carol Bal, CEO of Action Aid Ireland, NGO. It just tells you all you need to know, guys. NGO.
We know the impact of US cuts is already absolutely profound. One of the largest.
Yeah, because the US was spending too much, guys. They shouldn't be spending on the world stage. That's not their responsibility. Our own governments need to help put Ireland first. I know a lot of people, conflate that with like racism and shit, but that's not what it is, guys. Ireland first is putting your country first before other places. They do it in the Middle East, they do it in America, they do it in all these national countries, every other country in the world, India first, China first. But for some reason, Ireland's like, no, everybody else before us, before our own people. Like, what the hell kind of shit is that? It's ridiculous.
Richest, most richest donors has overnight cut their funding by and large with massive impacts. So, it just becomes this case of when do you stand up to a bully and when do you say...
Trump is not a bully. They're doing the interests of their own country and they're allowed to do that. They're not doing anything illegal. Matter of fact, everything they're doing is above board.
The global implications of this will be so huge.
But you're not just restricting the global. I mean, you're talking about some of the domestic policies. You're talking about his policies on gender equality. I have to say, if Americans came over here and told us certain policies that were domestic here, were that they weren't happy with them, I think I'd sort of say, it's none of your business, lads.
Yeah.
Well, we're actually talking about the women's rights implications globally, because within the cuts of US aid, one of the things that they are adamant about is that there will be no support to women's reproductive rights globally. And we know that 214 million women and girls don't have access to contraception that they need, and that leads to about 84% of unwanted pregnancies globally.
Dude, just get pregnant. Who cares? Who cares? 84% of unwanted pregnancies. Just have kids. Have 10 kids. Elon Musk is like 14. Kids are not expensive, guys. Women are expensive. You understand? The women want the handbags, they want the whole thing. Kids are €10 a week for food and maybe a couple of t-shirts and shorts. Kids are cheap, guys. I'd love to have 10 kids. Dude, kids are cheap. The women that you have to take care of, they're expensive. This is just nonsense, guys. This is some feminist woman just, oh, bro, I don't even want to talk about all that. Get me in trouble, but this is just crazy, man.
So it is actually a global implication on women's rights. And for those that have had their funding cut...
You wouldn't need contraception if you weren't sleeping with everyone. Quit sleeping around with everyone.
One of the reasons that they've had to justify is that they're not doing anything in relation to gender identity. And also the climate crisis is highly gendered. The majority of those displaced, 80% displaced during a climate crisis, are women. The majority are killed. More women are killed.
He has to cut her off. This is just complete.
Okay, we do have to leave it there. Carol Bal, CEO of Action Aid.
That was the worst. She said 80%. Hold on, we have to go with that. It's a gender identity crisis and highly gendered because 80% of people displaced during climate crisis are women? What? She's just completely brainwashed. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. Like, that is just complete brainwashing. Like, I would never in my life fund Action Aid Ireland. I would recommend people not to fund that either. I think that Trump pulls all the funding for all these companies. If they want to get funding, go be supported by your own people and get funding, just like I do, County Gains. I appreciate the love and support. If you want to support me, hit the join link underneath the video, guys, so I can keep pushing back against this crazy left-wing weird narrative that's pushed in the media. And like, comment, subscribe, of course. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.